All right. Good evening, everyone. Awesome. It's so nice to see all of you here today. Um, it's a beautiful day. And while we're waiting for some of us to still make it to camp, let's get a sense of why we're here, right? I believe most of us love nature or the outdoors in general, and that's what drew us to come here today, correct? And me personally, I love the mountains, and I can't wait to get back to the mountains. And we've been at home for a long time, all us nature lovers and mountain lovers and outdoor lovers. And the thought experiment or the idea was that if I can't go to the mountains, can we bring the mountains to us? Because the mountains or nature is a mindset and not a destination, correct? So yes, if you all know what we've been doing, if you all are new to Enlightened Sapiens, we are a community that encourages you to grow and learn with the things that you love. We've been having these sessions every weekend on different topics of gardening, hiking, photography, art. The idea is we are encouraging you to grow and learn with the things that you love, so that when you're ready, you can give back with this knowledge, making it easier for someone else to do the same. Isn't that a beautiful world where you can use your knowledge to help someone else? They don't have to go through the same struggles as you did to gain that knowledge. And today, we have an absolutely inspiring person, Peter Van Geit, who wishes to give back with his knowledge on mountaineering and the mountains in general. So I'm sure you'll have heard of him. If you haven't, he is an alpinist, a minimalist, a solo traveler, ultra journey expert. No adjectives aren't enough to describe what Peter does. He's originally from Belgium, but he settled in India. He gave up the professional world in 2017 and is into full-time exploration. He's done some fantastic things I've been following for a long time, and I'm honored that he's even here today. He's run across 2,000 kilometers in Vietnam. In the mountains of Vietnam. He's in the same year, last year, 2018, he went through 40 passes in the Himalayas. Last year, he did 3,000 kilometer fast hike, 3,000 kilometers in the Himalayas, over 120 passes, and still managed to climb 200 forts in Maharashtra in 2 months. Right? It's insane what he does. He's very inspiring. And what he's going to do today is going to help us bring the mountains closer to us in our own homes. And you'll know what our sessions are about. We've been doing this for a while. Our sessions are interactive, but this one particularly is all about your experiences. So Peter's going to share his experiences, but we would like you to share your experiences, the lessons the mountains teach you, what you love about the mountains, and your hiking experiences as well. That's what this whole thing is about, is to feel the sense of the mountains within us. Use the chat box, but keep it clean. I know you're excited, but keep it to relevant questions and only relevant stuff. And of course, use the raise hand button when you all do want to share something that you all would like everyone to hear. And I'm really excited for today. And I'm sure you guys are too. So if you all are ready, I'd like one thing before we begin. I'd like you all to take a step back, sit, relax, and shut your eyes. It's not a trick. I just want you all to shut your eyes for a second, for a minute or two. Please, everyone, your video is on, off. I'd like you all to shut your eyes. And I'd like you all to take a nice, deep breath. Yes. Now think of the last time you all were outdoors. Can you all feel the gentle breeze? Now think of the last time you all were on a mountain. Imagine you all are on your... Imagine you all are with your camping tent, just finished your dinner. Dinners in the mountains are usually garam dal and chawal, and they're very, very satisfying. Can you all feel the freshness of the air? Now you all are getting out of the dinner tent and you all are walking towards this beautiful campfire that is already laid out for you, prepared for you. I'd like you all to walk towards the fire and grab a seat. Can you all feel the warmth of the fire? Notice how you all are feeling. Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling contented? Are you feeling relaxed? Just observe. Okay. I'd like you all now to slowly open your eyes. Right? And we're going to try to feel what we're feeling. I'm sure all of us are feeling happy and composed and all these adjectives or memories that the mountains teach us. And today we're going to try to relive that and try to learn from each other, have clean conversations with each other. And for that, let's begin by sharing our experiences. Peter, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure, Karan. I hope I'm audible.
Absolutely. Absolutely audible. So for those of you, Peter has just finished a trek. He gave us a little scare, but as his word, 4:45, he was online. He is truly a person of the mountains. Thanks so much, Peter, for doing this.
I'm sure. We came out of a beautiful place called Nahalapuram. We spent 2 full days in the wilds, had an amazing, relaxing time close to nature, swimming in crystal clear water streams, camping actually in the rain. It was raining yesterday night, Saturday, but still our campfire was strong and kept us warm throughout the rain, throughout the night. Had cooked some yummy chapatis with aloo gravy and onions. So maybe Karan will ask me to share a couple of experiences. So I would like to start with one interesting time in my life. So originally I'm from Belgium, but I settled down in India, Chennai to be specific, in 98, 22 years ago. And after some initial solo exploration, mostly on my bullets in the mountains, through Ladakh, through Himachal, the Western Ghats, 10 years later into India, in 2008, I started kind of exploring nature on my feet, hiking with a couple of friends from the office. And soon it gave me so much positivity, so much physical and mental positive energy that I wanted to do that on a very regular basis. I wanted to go out almost all the weekends of the year. So, but of course, going to nature is always more fun, more exciting when you have like-minded company along with you. So I started a small blog called the Chennai Trekking Club, totally unknown that time, February 2018. Published a couple of pictures of the beautiful places I had gone to, and reached out to other people. I asked people, anyone interested to join and go to these kind of places together, please join my mailing list. And that's worked overwhelming. Within a couple of months, we were going out every single weekend with 20, 30 strangers initially, grouping together early morning on Saturday in the city, spending 2 days in the wild, and then coming back on Sunday night as having gone through so much of vivid experiences, swimming through streams, climbing mountains, climbing rocks, putting up a campfire together, cooking together. This was more like a volunteer kind of initiative, non-profit, so not commercial. So everyone in the team contributed in one way or the other. So in the first year, our group grew to almost 2,000 people, and over then 1 decade, over 10 years, we would become one of the largest groups in South India with 40,000 outdoor enthusiasts. Initially, we focused on hiking. We went to many places. Being Chennai based, our action radius was limited to a couple of hours. Or an overnight journey to neighboring states like Andhra, Karnataka, Kerala. But it was always amazing. I mean, we had this group of regular participants, and then every weekend we used to meet a lot of new people joining for the first time. And there was a lot of bonding happening. I mean, the kind of strangers you met into and you took them into the wild, disconnect them from the comforts of the city, from the familiar city life into a wild environment where everyone kind of needs to survive by themselves. You need to find drinkable water. You need to find a suitable campsite. You need to go through quite challenging terrain. I mean, India is not like Europe where you have well-marked routes, but you basically go through straight wilderness, through jungles, There are wild animals around you. And that kind of experience, it caused a lot of bonding. I mean, the people that you exited then on Sunday evening felt like friends for life. You had a much closer friendship with these people than the kind of colleagues you had been working with for the last 10 years in an artificial office environment. So, and initially then from that, say, trekking, hiking amongst nature, the group actually diverged a lot. We started caring for nature. So whenever we went to touristic places, we used to see a lot of garbage, right? People, especially in India, are a little bit sensitive to throwing plastic bottles or use and throw plates. Even now, I came out from a beautiful, pristine place, crystal clear water streams, and on the entrance, I see 20 guys with bikes and lots of garbage, alcohol bottles. So that really touched us. I mean, very close to our heart, having received so much of positivity from nature. We wanted to give back, so we started to organize these environmental cleanup drives initially in the forest, but then we took it closer to the Chennai, to the people, by cleaning up the beaches during World Environment Day every June first week. The response was amazing. So many organizations, so many corporates used to participate. We had like 10,000 volunteers removing 50 tons. Just imagine 50,000 kilograms of garbage from 20 kilometers of beaches in just 2 hours time. So beyond that, we also started then, doing social work, taking out like less privileged children from like 15, 20 different orphanages across the city on the same kind of experiences. Take them, let them play in the water, in the waterfalls, have a great time together, bond with the kids. And for those kids, it was also a once-in-a-lifetime experience, getting out of the boundary of their orphanage to these pristine, beautiful natural places, experiencing, breathing fresh air, swimming in crystal clear natural water, sitting around the campfire. That was like overwhelming experience for these small kids. So then over the years, I mean, we diversified in so many kind of activities, but always very close to nature. We started organizing ultra marathons. We started organizing like triathlons, like the full iron triathlon in 2012 itself. We started just very economical, very cheap, non-profit for 500 rupees. People could do like a full iron distance triathlon, which is like 4 kilometers of swimming, 180 kilometers of cycling, followed by running a full marathon, non-stop, one after the other. So I think we did an amazing job in terms of converting, especially the South Indian culture is a bit conservative. People don't go out easily. So we were able to really get so many people into nature, into cycling, into swimming, running, hiking, which I think had like an amazing impact on the culture of the city, teaching them about environmental awareness along the way. And keeping up an active lifestyle, taking out almost like 10,000 people every year on 200-300 outdoor events every year, basically. So I think I can hold it here, Karan. I don't want to take too much time for every experience.
No, I think, everything that you say is so inspiring and positive, Peter. Just a small relation to what you said, the numbers that you mentioned are astonishing and amazing. The number of people you've been able to motivate is amazing, right? And for me, I got into my journey, rekindled my journey with the mountains a few years ago, and I had a simple rule: once a month. That's all. I was happy with once a month in the Maharashtra. I live in Maharashtra, so we are lucky with the forts around us, and once a year in the Himalayas. So yes, everyone, if you'd like to share some of your experiences, what rekindled your love for the mountains, or any other experiences you'd like to share, use the raise hand button, and let's quickly share some experiences of us, and yeah, let's get this going. Okay, let's hear from Junkie Traveler. He's raised his hand. I see you in a nice tent over there.
Yeah.
I love the vibe you set.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so as an introvert who struggles with social anxiety, hiking and photography used to be my idea of a nightmare. Okay, so hiking and photography has always been one of my passions, but it's taken me a long time to work up the courage to go out there alone, because I don't like to go with people. I'm a solo traveler and I've been traveling across North from last 2 years. So initially, biggest push I got to start experimenting with hiking when I was, I was traveling across north. I was in Himachal Pradesh. I remember one morning when I was, walking through a forest. It was a sunrise time, and I was photographing that forest, and I was lurking in the shadows trying to snap a picture of a woman. So there was a woman sitting. I was, trying to snap the picture of that woman whose face was, dramatically lit with that sunlight. So that woman saw me, and earlier I thought that she would scold me, but she, greeted me in that local Himachali language, and she waved me, and she asked me to come over, and I went towards her, and with a broad smile she asked me to, show her the photo that I clicked. And after 5-10 minutes her friends joined, and everyone was asking me to click a picture of that, environment and the people over there. So basically, what is my point, that hiking really helps, when you are there alone, you get to know the stories of other people, you get to connect to other people, and it really helps to, get socially activated.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, the people, that's one reason why, I think Peter keeps going back, is to connect with like-minded people who love nature, or with a particular mindset. And by the way, all the images that you are seeing are all taken by Peter. So I don't know how he does this. I was following him, and he carries almost nothing, and he's able to take these beautiful images. That's all his buddies. I think they went trekking together. So yeah, I don't know how he's able to capture all these images and meet all these people. Yeah, Peter, sorry, you were saying?
No. Please continue,
Okay,
Karan.
okay, yeah. So Poonam, you can unmute yourself. You want to share some of your experiences with us? Hi, Poonam. You've raised your hand. Okay, fine. All right. So yeah, okay, Amit Kumar, there you go. I think you'd like to share your experience with us.
Yeah, are you audible? Are you all audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to share my experience in the mountains of Jharkhand, that is the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, and it was quite a amazing experience for me. Moving on such a great wildlife mountains, and the majority of the animals were in those forests was the elephant, and it's quite amazing to view all those, and it's quite experiencing for such our youths. And particularly I have achieved from those memories is that I had gained a experience and a mindset regarding nature, how nature reacts when we do travel in the nature, and how the wildlife reacts with us, and it's amazing experience. So that's all, it's amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Super, Peter. Yeah, you'd like to share some of your experiences?
Yeah, sure. So one important time of my life, so I mentioned about the Chennai Trekking Club, right? And going out almost like 52 weekends in a year. But one kind of dramatic time in my life was like 3 years ago, in somewhere in the July 2017, when I had actually spent 2 decades, or 20 years actually in my life, right? In a cubicle. I mean, I was going out all the weekends. Whenever there is a holiday, we used to make a long weekend, sometimes a corporate holiday. I had like 2 weeks of leaves to go for a 700-kilometer run in the Himalayas. But then 3 years ago, I thought, okay, I mean, am I going to sit another 2 or 3 decades in a cubicle, be stuck in that daily routine of getting up, brushing my teeth, sitting in traffic for 1 hour to reach office, then be in meetings with mostly people who are, I mean, just doing their daily life and not really going to the outdoors, sitting in that 5 by 5 feet kind of prison, almost corporate prison. So, and then I thought, okay, this is not how I want to live my life. So I not want to grow old and only remember it the times that I drove through traffic in a big metropolitan city full of pollution. So I made a kind of a decision then to just quit. I had a well-paying job with Cisco, like an international multinational, and yeah, it was a hard decision, a bit scary because I didn't know what lies ahead, say, without a job. So I anyway quit. Instead of living in the city, I simply rented out my home in Chennai. I had my own home, rented it out, and then I left. I just left for the mountains. So my first big, what I call ultra journey was like a 2,000-kilometer run in the beautiful mountains northwest of Vietnam, which is close to the border with China. It's very similar to the Western Ghats, actually. Similar climate also. And I was just leaving with this like a 2-kilogram backpack, very minimalistic, one pair of shoes, one t-shirt, one shorts, no extra clothes, a tarpaulin sheet and a thermocol mat to just protect myself from the cold in the night and sleep anywhere I would end up at the end of the day. And that was also a solo trip, obviously. Nobody was having the time to join me for like, this was almost 2 months running a full marathon every single day through kind of a totally unknown place. I didn't speak the language. But in addition to really living that outdoor life where not just you go for a 2-week holiday and you immediately start counting the days that you have to get back to office the next Monday. Now I really felt free. My soul could roam freely in the mountains. I could take a left here. I could take a right there. Change the plan, the original plan. So I was not time constrained anymore. Felt completely free. And in addition to this physical active lifestyle in a very pristine environment, these are like mountains where you still have a lot of forest or small farming villages. So running in this beautiful environment, not speaking a word of Vietnamese, but still experiencing a lot of wonderful hospitalities. I think out of 2 months, almost 9 out of 10 days, I would have been hosted in a beautiful bamboo hut. People used to give me nice home grown foods, a lot of hospitality, not able to communicate, but to show some pictures from my phone with my host. But really overwhelming experience in terms of humanity, innocence of these people in these, you can say the mountain tribe, in these small farming villages you meet, combined with running morning sunset till the evening, so the sunrise till evening sunset in these beautiful pristine environments, not really having a plan, just taking it day by day. Sleeping wherever I end up at the end of the day. That was really a first very overwhelming experience in my life, Karan.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I have a host of questions. I'm sure some of these everyone does as well. So if you'd like to ask Peter anything, I know there's you'll have questions that are in the chat box, but do raise your hand. You can interact with Peter. Ask him how he's able to use such a small backpack and fit everything inside that, or it's there's a lot of experience he has that he can share. So if you'd like to interact with Peter, you can raise your hand. Okay, Sakshi, you can unmute yourself. You can share experiences or ask anything to Peter. You can go ahead. Sakshi Best.
Okay, I raised my hand to share my experience, like one of
Please
them.
go ahead. Please go ahead. It's an open forum. Okay. Just imagine you're in the mountains. There is no me or this. It's open for all. Please.
Okay. So my experience was like my dad and my mom belongs to Uttarakhand. Like that is their hometown. So I went there every summer vacation, and my mom is from Nainital, and that's like pure heaven. And I must say, so from there I got that craze of running away to mountains every summers. And so last year I went to Char Dham Yatra, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri and Gangotri, and there I experienced that beauty, like that gave me so much of peace. I cannot even say it in my words. And from that moment I decided that I'll continue doing this, and I made the trip this year as well. I just made the trip to go to Himachal Pradesh, But due to this pandemic thing, like everyone is suffering, and my plan and trip got cancelled. So I'm just like, I'm searching for things that can give me peace, and this platform gave me an opportunity to have an experience of trekking and mountaineering, and so I'm very glad to have you guys here. And one question I would like to ask to Peter, that like, is it easy to just run away to mountains? Because I don't find, I have to make plans, I have to see that where can I stay, and since like we are girls, we cannot just run. You know, that's, we have conditions like where to stay, where to you know, to whom to speak, and is that a good place or not. So can you suggest things like that?
Yeah, sure. So indeed, I mean, it's not that easy indeed to go on a long solo journey in
Yes.
an unknown place for ladies. But still, I mean, as you might have experienced, right, the people you meet in these remote hamlets in the mountains are like a totally different mindset, much more innocent, much more helpful, warmer humanity and hospitality than the kind of people you tend to meet in the cities these days, who have kind of sold their soul to money. They only think about consumerism and materialism. So I actually have never had a negative experience with anyone. Of course, I'm a guy in the mountains. And to come to your question also, what about the running? So I have a bit of a long fitness background. So initially I started hiking. In 2013, 7 years ago, I fell in love with running. I mean, and when we say running, it's not just going for a small 10-kilometer run in the neighborhood. It's about running marathons and then beyond. I used to run like ultra marathons where you run 100-kilometer non-stop through days and nights in race events. And later also, I kind of started running like, I remember a beautiful run from Shimla all the way to Jammu through the Spiti and the Pangi valleys, 700-kilometer
Oh,
non-stop over 12
that's
days.
awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
I mean, running has a benefit. You go pretty fast through these places, so you always come. Uttarakhand is again amazing, especially Uttarakhand. You have like hundreds and hundreds of small villages. People are,
Yes.
I mean, as long as you're away, of course, from commercial and touristic places, people are extremely friendly.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
was 3-4 villages every day. There was no lack of opportunity to pick up food or to stay. In many places, people did not allow me to set up a small tent outside. They said, no, 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 you stay with us tonight. Give me good food, a hot shower sometimes. And it's really, I mean, that's what I like about the mountains. It's not just this pristine nature, but also the people are so innocent and helpful. They kind of consider you as one of their own, take you into their house and care for you, guide you, feed you, give you night rest. So I think it's a much safer environment for girls also to be than in our metro, like Mumbai or Delhi.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because I belong to there and I know how kind of people they are, and I literally love them, the way they treat people. And actually, I own a house there, and
Okay.
the tenants of my house also treat the visitors and the tourism like that only. So it's like nice place, but still, like, you know, there is some aspects that you don't like to travel there, just of the security purpose, nothing else.
I always suggest ladies, you can always travel in pairs or something. I think there are good forums, actually, outdoor forums, whatever it is, like forums like this or Facebook groups, or like I even have in Chennai Trekking Club, we have so many girls who used to come with us, and I can connect you with some other ladies who also like travel solo. I think you can always go then in 2 or 3s, which will make you feel safer and
That
enjoy.
that would be great. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you so
sure.
much.
Awesome. So, would Peter, you'd like to take any more questions, or you'd like to go ahead and share some more of your amazing experiences, something what you've done in the Himalayas and how you've done it, or even the content that you take, how with the equipment, anything? Would you like to share, or you'd like to take some more questions?
We can take some more questions, Paran, if you
Okay.
have time.
Okay. Of course. Of course. Govinda, Zalte, you can unmute yourself and share some of your experiences, or ask Peter anything that you'd like.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to share some of my views that we guys live in India. Here, dreams are burdened on children, especially like parents burdened their dreams on their children. And yes, actually, that happened with me. But last year, my parents agreed and they gave me chance. They told me that you can actually go and do whatever you want. Luckily, I am doing LLB. I am pursuing career as in law, and I am very happy. Uh, Last 2 years I was suffering from depression, but what actually helped me to get out of that depression was films which were related to topics of travel, like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara movie, Wild, Into the Wild, this kind of movie, Bucket List, this kind of movie helped me a lot to get out of that depression. And luckily last year I completed my list of 101 places to visit before I die. So I would like to ask Peter, Peter, how will you give me some ideas, some motivation so I can complete my that list?
Yeah, I think, I mean, why do we go to the mountains? Why do we travel? Why do we go to the like, as I mentioned earlier, it's not about any external inspiration or anything. It's just that spending a weekend, a bit longer, like if you go on a Himalayan pass for 1 week or 10 days, it's such an overwhelming experience. I mean, going to raw virgin nature, the kind of positive energy that you receive, the immune boost, drinking fresh water from those pristine streams, breathing fresh mountain air, and the kind of people you meet, right? Not just like even local people, but then also similar like-minded people out. I mean, with 40,000 people in our Chennai trekking club in Chennai, I mean, some of the most wonderful people in terms of attitude, in terms of volunteering skills, caring for others. I've met as part of this outdoor community, people who are very close with nature. Typically, their mind is not kind of diverted to other things like career and making money and consumerism. People are like very happy with like a minimalistic lifestyle and just living simple in the mountains. So I think nature actually is the one that drives us, that instills us with this positive energy to keep exploring and keep coming back. I mean, people who go once to the Himalayas, most of them fall in love and then they want to go back every year.
Absolutely, absolutely, Peter. So yes, we'll love to hear some more of your experiences, Peter, and we can take some questions at a later, or share other people's experiences later as well.
So, I mean, after this initial little solo journey through a completely new and foreign place of Vietnam, I had been going to the Himalayas, I think, almost since 20 years. So when I came to India in '98, my first Himalayan trip was in 2000. I went on my Enfield Lightning, put it on the train to Delhi, started biking from Delhi then, and went through the beautiful Spiti Valley, then all the way to Leh, from Leh to Srinagar. It was like an overwhelming experience, obviously, right? Especially Ladakh, Zanskar, you're in a totally different world. The gradients of the mountains, the colors, it's like a different planet almost. It's that high altitude desert, traveling on your own. So initially I went on the bike for a couple of years. Then I started cycling, got myself one of these mountain bikes. I started doing like 1,000 kilometers from Shimla to Leh over, I think it was 18 days, 85 kilometers per day, carrying our tents, pitching up the tents wherever we felt like it, picking up food along the way. After that, it was running. Then in 2013, I think I never touched my bike or cycles again. I started running simply 50 kilometers per day along the roads. But this was always along the road and kind of having the villages along the way where you have food and stay. So then in 2018, 2 years ago, I kind of wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go more remote. I wanted to go to what they call the high passes. So I kind of made a plan. It took me a couple of weeks to put some like 40, 50 passes together, high passes, where you basically go from one valley to the other valley. Like you say, you go from Kulu Valley through the Pin Parvati pass from a lush green valley, and you end up in a totally different world on the other side of the pass in Spiti mud village, where you're in a high altitude desert, totally different kind of world almost. So like this, I kept hopping pass after pass after pass. Totally unknown for me, a little scary. I'd never ventured away from the roads, from the villages, into the unknown, remotest corners of the Himalayas. But it was like an amazing experience. I met like mountain tribes, people who live very close to nature, completely disconnected from modern life, staying together with their buffaloes or their sheep in like an open wooden shelter. No roads, no electricity, no network, but very simple people, very, again, amazing humanity, hospitality, like you're a stranger passing through there. Through that forest there, they will again immediately take care of you, guide you, feed you, give you a night stay among their family. Totally innocent. I mean, it's like an overwhelming experience. Spend a lot of time also you can see the video in the background with shepherds. And these shepherds typically take like 500 to 1,000 sheep during the summer months from the villages into the high alpine meadows to graze the entire summer. And the natural goodness of the meadows, the herbs, the animals graze there has like results in much higher quality milk and meat of the animals. So meeting those guys also, I mean, the shepherds are actually the kings of the mountains. They know how to navigate to the steepest slopes, to cross these passes, initially at the beginning of the summer when they're still covered with snow. So I've met some amazing shepherds there, like who treat you with crisp wood fried crispy rotis on the campfire. They go out and milk a sheep and give you fresh milk. You stay with them on the campfire. You sleep on a woolen sheet of sheepskin. You look up in the sky and you see the star. I mean, the dust of the Milky Way on top of you in the dark skies at 4,000 meter altitude, with like some 500 sheep around you. It's like an overwhelming experience, this being far away from the modern civilization and pristine nature again, close to these humane creatures, these experiencing overwhelming hospitality in this remote, barren landscape, Karan.
Absolutely. Speaking of, these remote landscapes, it's the Milky Way dust that you mentioned is a sight you can't get enough of, right? And the shooting stars that you see, and that honestly is one thing that draws me back to the Himalayas every single time. And it's funny, we don't have to travel really large distances to see this. We just have to get out. People mention traveling in general or nature. In Maharashtra, I've seen the Milky Way galaxy right from home.
Correct.
So you got to find these dark skies and certain nights. So if you make an effort, it doesn't matter where you are situated or your conditions are. You can experience these beautiful things that we get with the mountains. So I know a lot of you want to share your experiences with us. Priyanka, Shankar, you can unmute yourself and share your experiences with us.
Hi, am I audible?
It's a bit soft, Priyanka. If you can, go ahead.
Yeah, is this fine?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Priyanka Shankar. I'm a travel blogger. And a few months back, I traveled to Bhutan. And that inspired me to start writing, actually. So what my experience was while I was trekking to the tiger nest in Bhutan, that the environment, the stark cleanliness that you find in such places, it has huge impact on the people. So the moment you enter Bhutan, you will find happy faces. You will find a serene environment, and you can find the impact on yourself if you stay there for even a few days. So that was an amazing experience for me.
Awesome. Anyone else would like to share the experiences? Roli Singh, thank you for sharing, Priyanka, by the way.
Okay,
We hope-
first question is for Peter. Peter, I would like to ask you that were you seeking something in particular when you started traveling like this? Because I'm really inspired by the movie The Kindness Diaries, and not for years, for one, I would like to live a life like him. if one has seen the movie and can relate. And all the youngsters, especially girls, I want to tell that I started solo journey when I was 40. It's never late to start, and it's not that difficult. Just do your work right, everything will fall in place. Thank you. Peter, can you answer me?
Rolly, can you ask a question again? Your voice was breaking. Or if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can put it on the chat box. I know what you said, that you're inspiring people to do this, but your voice was breaking and I couldn't get the question either.
No, thank you.
Rolly? Okay, I think she's facing network issues.
Yeah, did you ask anything? I think I missed something because of poor connection.
Yes, if you can put in the chat box, I'll have Peter take the question. We can't hear you. Your voice is breaking. Okay, let's get Nikita Singh, Nikita Shah. Do you have any quick experience you'd like to share with us? Okay, let's go with Jatin.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead, Jatin.
I wanted to ask a question. Can you suggest some precautionary measures to avoid any occurrence with wild animals? Like we used to hear a lot, like do not roam around at night in mountains and that kind of thing while hiking.
Oh, that's excellent question. Actually, that question I get asked every every session. So, I mean, first of all, my experience with, as we call them, wild animals is that my experiences with animals is fairly positive. I've been roaming in jungles of South India for 10 years as part of Chennai Trekking Club. I've now covered 5,000 kilometers in the Himalayas, over 150 high passes. And I have several encounters with animals, but in general, I would say I would call people wild. I would not call animals wild, to be honest, especially modern day people. Animals live in their own ecosystem, and if you don't surprise them or you don't confront them, normally they are not going to be offensive towards humans. So, I mean, I would say two rules. During the nights when you camp, especially when you camp solo, mostly I try to find some company. I try to find a shepherd or a rock shelter, or if really I have to camp in the middle of nowhere, especially in the lower Himalayas, closer in the jungles where you will have more wildlife, then I make a small fire basically. Animals do not like to come close to fire in general. So in the nights, you can find a proper shelter or stay with shepherds. So then you're surrounded by 500 sheep. The shepherds often tell stories that they lose several sheep to the snow leopards, but I think a snow leopard will rather go for a small sheep than for a big human being. During the day when you wander around, there is actually one rule. So make your presence felt, avoid confrontation, avoid surprising an animal. So when you're in the higher Himalayas, in the open terrain, in the moraines, in the grasslands, in the glaciers, you have a pretty open view, and the animals will see you coming much sooner before you notice them. So no issues there. If you come to the lower Himalayas, in the forest, in the jungles, especially Uttarakhand, parts of Himachal where you have brown and black bears, it's best to make your presence felt, that you don't surprise the animal like a mother with cubs or so. So if you sense anything, you just make some noise that the animal knows, okay, that somebody is there, that the animals probably can make way for you. That so far has always worked pretty much for me after traveling extensively to very remote places with a lot of presence of wildlife.
I hope that answers your question. You mentioned snow leopards. So, Peter, we had a campfire sessions last time, last time, and we actually found a person who was cataloging snow leopards in Himachal. So he was all the way from Himachal. He had come for a session, and we asked him, I'm like, how many snow leopards have you seen? He's like, none yet. So you just got started, but it is nice. Okay, so let's have Manan. I think you want to share some of the experiences.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Manan, you are.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Trekking for me has been a very long, it's been a passion. I've been quite passionate about it for quite some time, but My true experience began only in 2016 after I had completed my academics. And mainly I'm into research and I've completed my doctorate. So after that, my very first trek after submitting my thesis was in the Sahyadris, a very popular place called the Sandhan Valley. I had absolutely no idea what to expect from that place, and a friend of mine had said, "You've submitted your thesis, now let's chalo baar niklo, like leave now. You've spent a lot of time indoors," and that actually was kind of an eye opener. I mean, how to deal with the elements, how to interact with different people. So, I mean, uh, uh, I think Junkie Traveler, what he shared, I can quite relate to that being an introvert, but it was quite a good experience. And like what Karan said, my motto was like, okay, at least 2 treks a month and then 1 Himalayan trek a year. But now, slowly, I guess the more time you spend with in nature, with the elements, they are probably your best teachers who teach you a lot about everything in life. Like how do you communicate, how do you survive, how do you uh, learn different skills, how do you, and so on. So yeah, that was what motivates me, and it uh, attracts me more towards going out and spending more time in nature. And to Peter, I just have one question. In the videos that are being shared in the background, I see you travel with a very small backpack. How do you manage that?
Also, that's a good question, right? Even most of the hikers I meet, especially a lot of Europeans in Ladakh region, every single person seems to hawk that 60-liter bag with 25 kg. And I see people struggling not against the mountain. I see people struggling against their own bags. So for me, I think it came with my ultra running background. So we runners, we are pretty good in optimizing luggage. I mean, every 100 gram you carry, like last year when I crossed 120 passes, the big buffalo here crossing. When I crossed 120 passes, I scaled an elevation, which was the equivalent, I think, of 15 times the height of Mount Everest. So some 160,000 meter elevation gain. So every 100 gram you carry with you really adds a lot of, you're going to burn a lot of extra calories. It will, you break a lot of extra sweats. So especially somebody who goes fast, I don't always run. I also do like fast hiking, especially in the Himalayas where it's not that easy to run. But optimizing luggage is important. So like when I run in the lower, like Western Ghats, Sahyadris, it's just like 1-2 kilograms. When I go to the Himalayas, of course, when you go at 4,000 or 5,000 meters, sometimes 6,000 meters, you get exposed to the extreme weather elements, and you need to keep yourself dry and warm. So then I carry a little more, like 4 or 5 kilograms. But I really optimize in a lot of different ways as an ultra runner who knows that every 100 gram counts. I don't carry a big tent. I just carry a 500 gram bivy, like a mummy, to keep me warm at night, to sleep in the rain at 5,000 meters on top of a glacier. I carry like pretty minimalistic gears, like 700 gram sleeping bag that will keep me comfy at minus 10 degrees. I don't carry any cooking stuff. I will just carry 50 ml of kerosene, sprinkle it on some dry yak poop to make a small fire for cooking. And like in that way, there are several ways actually you can optimize. I don't carry extra clothes. I'll just have a single t-shirt, a single shorts, for 5-6 months in the mountains. The more I carry with me, it becomes a burden basically. The more you carry, the more it burdens you physically and also mentally. The more minimalistic, the more bare you travel, the more you feel like, okay, I'm totally free and I'm just one with the mountains. And you can also go much more enjoyable and faster carrying less of materialistic stuff with you.
Absolutely. I hope that answers your question. Like I said, I've seen him with the smallest of backpacks, and it's amazing, and it's inspired me to do the same the next time I travel as well. He's got some amazing videos showing you what he carries in his backpack on YouTube. We'll be sharing all the links towards the end of today's session. Let's get a quick question again before Peter can share some more of his experiences. Bunny, I believe you want to share some of your experiences with us. Bunny, you
Uh,
can unmute yourself. Yeah.
uh, First of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Karan, sir, for arranging such like helpful webinars. And my name is Bunny, and I'm from Bombay, and I started trekking 2 years ago. Even I'm a kind of introvert, so I've also done some solo treks. Peter, sir, I would like to ask you that how do you manage with the money and all? And one more question, like just like the normal people do go on the treks and tours during their vacation time, and you're traveling is your main job. So what you do on your vacation?
Could you repeat the second question? I didn't get the second one
Uh,
fully.
we people, what we do, we go on a treks and like hiking during our vacation time. Like when we get some
Yeah.
holidays, we go on a treks and tours on that time. And you travel like all the time. Like you like 365 days you're traveling. So what you do on your vacation time? Is your main job. So what you do on your vacation?
Yeah, so I mean, first to come to the first question, which is a common question: how do you manage financially?
Yes.
I mean, I used to earn lakhs and lakhs of money in these big corporates. I had a big job, a big title, like fancy title, like project manager, this, that. But at the same time, if you live in these big cities, my home base was Chennai. You earn a lot and you burn a lot. Much of the money you spend, you spend it on all kind of materialistic things. People advertise products all around. It's a consumer society. It's a global economy. It drives on consumers, and at the end of the day, you're surrounding yourself with so much of materialistic stuff, which becomes a burden. I mean, you always keep upgrading your phone. You want a newer car. You want this, that. And it's really not fulfilling. I mean, it leaves your soul empty. So one thing, when I quit my job 3 years ago and went living in the mountains, literally was that, of course, I had to scale down my lifestyle as I was not earning a lot anymore. I just was renting my home in Chennai, had a basic income from that. But one thing that I experienced clearly, when you go to the mountains, nobody is interested in your money. That means away from the commercial and touristic places, obviously. When you explore these unknown, less touristic places, the people show you overwhelming hospitality. They host you. If you have to buy like a plate of momos, you'll spend 50 rupees, or in the Sahyadri somewhere in a small village, 50 rupees for a plate of bakris. With 200 rupees a day, I could easily manage for the last couple of years. So when I spent the entire summer in the Himalayas in 2019, I crossed 120 passes. I spent like 200 rupees a day, which basically means I spent 200 rupees for a pass, going on my own alpine style, finding my own way, carrying my own places, staying in my sleeping tent everywhere, not using any lodges or hotels, not using private transportation. Life was very simple and very cheap, basically. I think people normally spend like 15,000 rupees or more for one Himalayan pass with a commercial group. For me, it just takes 200 rupees and I cross it pretty fast. I go at my own pace. So question one. Question two, what is a vacation for me? I mean, vacation is a word that doesn't exist anymore. There is no weekend, there is no weekday, there is no Wednesday, there is no Sunday. For me, it's just a continuous adventure now. Life. It's the only rhythm I still have is the daily cycle of the sun rises, and I get up when the sun rises. I sleep when the sun sets down. I don't really bother too much. Where will I be at the end of the day to pitch up my tent? I know I'm in a beautiful place. I understand nature pretty well, having traveled now almost 3 years continuously in the mountains. I know how to assess the terrain, assess the weather elements, and I know that the mountains is full of amazing, innocent people who will guide you, who will take care of you, who will also give you food along the way. And so So Holi, I mean, the concept of a holiday only makes sense for a person living in the city and working, sitting in a cubicle, commuting to office every day. There is no concept of vacation anymore. I do go back to Chennai once in a while, and then I enjoy doing a little bit of blogging, creating some webinars, planning my next journey, looking at maps, satellite maps, topographic maps. So that's maybe like a vacation for me, but that's then kind of planning the next journey.
I had one more question. When I've been to Ratangad and I got really lost over there for 2 to 3 times. So in such situations, what we can do? Like, would you like to give some tips regarding so how to get not lost in the nature? I know it's nice to get lost in nature, but it's not so reliable. Like, what do you do in such situations when you don't find a way to to reach on the top and to get out of that forest area?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think especially Ratanagat is a little bit dense jungle all around, and you have several ways in and out. And I've visited some 12 hills and forts in that region. A lot of trails, so it's easy to get lost. But yeah, I mean, we have been roaming around in jungles as part of the Chennai Trekking Club for almost 10 years, and we have become pretty good in like finding our own way. This is not Europe or America where the trails are well marked, well maintained. India is more virgin. I really like India. It's much better than the West. You can really explore. It's more adventurous here, trying to find your way. As somebody who spends more time in the outdoors, I think it's essential for all of us to, especially when you go solo or with a small group of friends there, not along with a commercial organization, you should pick up the basics, I think, of map reading, of navigation, topographic maps, understanding the terrain, doing a little bit of planning. I don't use any specialized gears. I just use my phone. I use offline open street maps. I do study the terrain quite well because getting lost in the Western Ghats is easy. I mean, you can probably follow a ridge, you can follow a stream. I've I've gotten lost a couple of times in the Himalayas, and there it's a different story because if you look even at the video now, the terrain is very steep. It's very fragile. I mean, it's the Himalayas are one of the youngest mountain ranges, geologically speaking, so it's highly eroded. Places like Zanskar and Ladakh. So if you get lost there away from the route which is used by shepherds or villagers, can become very dangerous. I've been in a couple of situations where you cross a pass pretty late in the afternoon, you get stuck in a blizzard or a whiteout, you lose the trail and you lose the ability to track how the shepherds went ahead of you. And it becomes tricky. Sometimes you end up in some very steep solo climbs. So the only tip I can give is go through some of I've created a lot of webinars about map reading, navigation. Indian Himalayas are indeed very undocumented compared to Nepal and the European Alps. The Indian Himalayas, unfortunately, there are very few maps or trails available. But especially during this lockdown, I think I planned so much. I think soon I will publish more than 1,000 passes in the Himalayas. You can do 700 high altitude, beautiful alpine lakes, thousands and thousands of trails I've been figuring out from old Soviet army maps, from Olizane maps, from Survey of India maps. So there's so much of beautiful hiking potential in the Himalayas, but due to the fact that many people are a bit hesitant to start getting into map reading and navigation and miss out on exploring these beautiful places. Most of the commercial hiking community in India, they go to 10 places which are crowded, which are touristic, which are commercial, which are polluted. It's time for us to become more independent hikers, I would say, like in Europe, where everyone goes by themselves, uses maps, paper maps, offline maps on the phone, and really explore some really beautiful untouched places by acquiring those basic skills.
Absolutely, Peter. I think that that was the idea of today, right? Is for us to meet people who want to get started in hiking, already love hiking and or trekking and mountains or nature, and have a mindset to sort of understand and be more conscious of our actions. I know there's a lot of people who want to share their experiences and have a lot of questions. what we can do is sort of, I've put a link. It's just a small community group on Facebook that we started. You can share your experiences or your questions, and we'll get to these answers. But you'll also asked how you all can, connect with Peter with his Chennai trekking group and all the other amazing things that he's been doing. So I'm going to share some details with you all. We'd love, Peter would love for you all to continue your journey with us using, of course, where we are. We are on Instagram and website and all those platforms. But Peter has an amazing blog, Instagram, and like you said, all the videos that you've seen are all his. I got sentimental just putting this together. So continue a journey into hiking. It's not just about today. The idea is that we need to relive the mountains. It's within us. It's if we can't travel, we can bring the mountains to us. And that is the idea, is that we can be conscious about our decisions and sort of understand how we can bring the mountains to us if we can't go there. So Peter, I just wanted to thank you, of course, for today. It was an honor and inspiration, great guidance, and I'm just happy that you could do this. I know you're itching to get back to the mountain, so like you can see Peter's on his way back from a trek. I think he's going back to another one shortly after this. He made it in time just for this session, so I do appreciate you coming back from the mountains for us. So thank you. Of course.
Was a pleasure to be here, Karan. Thanks for this forum. I think it really helps people a lot to connect, and I think it's amazing. Yeah, we should be spending more time in the outdoors. Modern day generation who grows up in concrete cities and spends most of their life in cubicles. It's people are really missing out on life. I think life is too short, and the mountains are too beautiful to be locked up in a concrete city.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said that better, right? So I'm happy to have spent this virtual campfire with all of you. We had a lot of you here today. I hope you all enjoyed. Y'all know where to reach out to us, but you also know what we're doing. We're holding all these sessions every weekend. All of them are free, and all of them on different topics. And we're trying to sort of get people to understand themselves a bit better. So next weekend we have a session on art and psychology. It's on doodling, but we're trying to relate what art and psychology can do, and how it can help you in your daily lives. We have on birding. So many birds have started coming out in the cities because of the lockdown. So getting aware of understanding birds, of doodling in lettering and art, and there's so many things that we've got going. So do join us. All our sessions are free, and many of you have asked, why is it free? Why you're holding such sessions? And we believe that knowledge should be free for all, and there should be no barrier for knowledge. And we're going to try to keep this going as long as we can with sessions that are absolutely free for all of you all to enjoy. So do join us for all of them. I've shared a small link. It's if you like to continue and help us, you can do that and keep us going. And we will be sharing a feedback form with all the details. So don't worry. And I hope to see you all soon. And thank you again, Peter, for joining. Thank you all for being here today and spending this beautiful day with us. And yeah, I hope to see all of you all soon. And thanks again.
Bye, Karan.
Thanks, Peter. I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks.
See you in
again.
the mountains soon.
Hopefully, very, 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 very soon, Peter. I'm itching to be there in the mountains with you. So hopefully, we make a plan very, very soon. And I hope you check out Chennai Trekking Club. All the best, and can't wait to join you for one of your amazing expeditions. At least a small portion of it, if nothing else. Because I know you're in those 3,000 kilometers, 5,000 kilometer races. So maybe for one of your vacation days in the mountains, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks again, Peter. Thanks
sure.
everyone.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We will be sending out feedback forms and hope y'all can share your feedback and use our hiking group to be part and continue your journey. Thank you all and see you all very soon.